Hey, good morning, Mel. Hey, Mel, can you hear me? Hello. Hi, can you hear me? Hey, Mel. Hello.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hi, Mel.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, good. Good to know. Good to know. I guess right now it's just you and me.
I guess so.
So, what do you think of the event that day, uh, Thursday?
I thought it was interesting. I thought most of the people will be very challenged by the course. So I guess this is more like what you're used to from your students as far as preparation.
Yes, very likely. So, the course that we are going through right now, it is, I have evolved it like with you, and I saw you guys are like higher level, so I just changed the course itself dynamically. So that's why you see some occasionally the write-ups are not in exactly the way you expect it to be, because I'm like preparing them as I talk, as I teach, as I work with you. I'm preparing them like a day in advance or 2 days in advance, and there are occasional typing mistakes and here and there. That's what you notice, right? Because
Right.
I think this particular group, your group, is advanced. So I want to make sure that I keep up with you,
Well, I certainly appreciate that.
as opposed to bore you with baby stuff.
hmm
Hi,
So
Michael.
I thought they had some pretty good questions about how they're going to get a job after taking this course. So
That is really really expected. People want to get a job. Ideally, that's the goal. Let me
right.
check the message. I think Michael is on the phone with us.
Hello, Michael.
Good morning, guys.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Are you guys okay?
Yes, we are doing okay.
Sure.
We're chatting about what we did Thursday, but that was just me and Mel at that time.
Okay.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I kind of have a lot going on, so I'm just trying to keep up. And I had a chance to look at the cloud marketplace for. I'm assuming you wanted to kind of go through that today. Is that right?
That's correct. That's my idea. But if you have some other ideas, I'm open to that also. So if there is anything that we can do to make it easy on you, if you have a lot going on, I just want to understand, is there anything we can do? So let us know.
No, you've been really good about saying that. It's more about me. I my son is home and just busy at work, and just there's not enough hours in the day. But you've made yourself available. It's on me to reach out.
Yeah, and summer and family is home and everything, like especially summertime is busy time. I can understand. My son is also home these days. He comes home. Sorry, he goes to college still. There is this summer class that's going on right now. I think he's learning Java programming, some higher level. So I participate with him occasionally, do that some of the exercises with him, so I can brush up my skill in Java. Although uh, it has been a while. It has been a while I've touched Java, so I tend to write and speak in Ruby, and then he converts into Java. I tend to write in English mostly, actually. When I write code, I write in English. what I call it is pseudocode. And then depending on the language being used, they convert it. So that's what he's busy with class, some work he's doing in the summer, and of course he's home, so that's a different game altogether.
It is. It's challenging. And when the weather gets nice too, it's like, oh, I just want to be outside for a couple of minutes, or there's something to do in the garden, or
Yeah.
whatever. It's endless. So the people that are disciplined, that can focus and basically manage their time, are the ones that I think have an advantage.
Hmm.
That is correct.
So, Michael, how's the job market holding up for cloud specialists?
Oh, it's interesting you said that because so I'm over at Robert Half, and basically I've only been a recruiter for a short time. Before that, I was in IT infrastructure for about 15 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so the reason why I'm saying that is uh, when I started recruiting, I was focusing primarily on infrastructure people because that was what I knew best. And last week, I got, I don't know if it's a promotion or a demotion, but I'm going to be now recruiting for development people, so basically programmers. And one of the things that I think is really important is for programmers that can work in the cloud. And so all of the resumes that I'm looking at are basically people that have a limited amount of cloud-based experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so, quite obviously, from a programming standpoint, people need to be able to do that. And it's challenging to find people.
Mm-hmm. It seems like that's where the biggest demand is for the developers in the cloud. Are you seeing any demand for people who are not developers but who have worked with, managing the infrastructure? Is there much demand for that?
Well, actually, what I would do is I would pose that question to you and Nilesh, and what I would say is the people that fit that description are the people that quote unquote are DevOps people. So they're primarily people that have strong open source, like Linux, for example, or Unix or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're also really good at scripting. So they're probably pretty strong on Java, for example. And then they can, script in JavaScript, for example. And then they're also familiar with some of the latest frameworks, that are used in Java. And then ultimately, it's being able to work with APIs, kind of all the stuff that we're getting exposure to. But those people are a premium in the marketplace right now. Would you guys both agree?
I think that is correct, absolutely. And one idea that comes to my mind as I discuss on the same topic of hiring and job market, and especially you, Michael, with your role at Robert Half, is something that I want to ask you a question about. So Thursday we went to the meet the army people, the service members who returned from Iraq and Afghanistan and other places, come back home and now looking for jobs in civilian market. And we will be having a class full of service members focused on cloud computing, and that class starts September 9th and ends December 2nd or something like that. So that 3-month course, I want each one of those service members to get a job, and in the field of training, which will be cloud computing. That's my goal, and I would invite help from you and your company, Michael, to see if we can collaborate on getting these people on a path to getting a job. Essentially, that is my goal. That is going to be a success measure for me to make sure that service members who return home get trained, get jobs. So what I'm formally asking you and Robert Half, your company, is there anything that we can do together to make it happen, to maybe drive our thinking, our common work towards a direction that will help benefit Robert Half and Michael and me, and especially these service members who return home from abroad, from deployments abroad, come here at the JBLM, and they will be exiting the military out of that JBLM campus, Joint Base Lewis McChord campus, sometime in like early January, and they will be out on the civilian marketplace. And civil community is fierce and competitive and dangerous, almost as equally dangerous as the military operations, if you will. From an economics perspective, I'm saying not life-threatening, but from an economics perspective, it is cutthroat. It is hard. They're not used to it, so we need to train them. We need to help them, coach in a direction that will help them get a job. That is on top of my mind for the next September through December timeframe. And so in January, I would like to have each one of these members, about 30 or so, 20 to 30 members, lined up with a specific job in the computing IT industry, and that will be my success. I see that Mel Morrison has added some Google effects, which is fancy. You can now put a hat or something. Yeah, it will be funny. Go ahead and play with that if you like. So that is my need, Michael. If you have something in mind that you want to maybe discuss later, that's totally welcome. I will enjoy that. I will like to seek help from you and your company in making sure that the service members actually land a job. That is my goal.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Timing is everything, and it's so funny because I've been also very much contemplating that exact same thing. So I guess there's two quick responses. Number one, it sounds like the model that Code Fellows also has for their their developers is that they try and give a guarantee or for everyone who's gone through their course to get them a placement. And so it sounds like a similar, I guess, approach or strategy. And I'm actually in conversations with, you probably know her as well, the gal that she's now the CEO of Code Fellows. She has the background from Zulily. Are you familiar with the gal I'm talking about, the auburn-haired gal?
I know, she's just the new CEO. I used to work with the older CEO, the previous CEO who now moved on to Chicago. Yes, yeah. I know that company. They're our business partners. Yes, we know them.
Yeah, awesome.
I know them very well, and I haven't met this new lady, but yes, Will and his management and Andy Sack and all those people, we have a contract with them.
Oh, wow.
To run the same cloud class in their location. So we did have a relationship with them. So we have it. Yeah. In fact, I have spoken in their classes many times before already.
Yeah, so, I like the video. I've seen one of your videos where you were there. I definitely I don't want I certainly want to continue the conversation, Nilesh, and it's exciting what you're talking about. So I think probably we should talk about that offline. But I'm very interested in what you're talking about.
I think we should do that then. Let's talk later about that topic specifically. I can see that May has joined, Murugan has joined. So hey, welcome guys. Can you hear us? Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good to see you. You have a different laptop or a different setup today? Okay.
I'm using my kid's laptop, and I'm at Amazon.
Oh, you are at Amazon right now. I see.
I'm going.
Hey Murugan, how are you doing?
Vanakkam.
Hey Murugan. I'm going to mute. It is a bit loud here. Oh, that's okay. Okay, May. That's fine. Murugan says good morning on chat window. Hi, Murugan. I hope you can hear us. If you cannot
Yeah.
hear us, please chat, and we'll make sure that we fix the audio problem. Awesome, awesome. So let me ask you this question: if you have had a chance to read through that document, the cloud marketplace document, would you like to share some thoughts as to what did you see, what did you find, or maybe share your screen as to what you tried or something like that? Anybody?
Well, I didn't try anything. I reviewed what was there. I didn't try any of the options.
Okay.
It was interesting to see what they're trying to do. I'm not sure how much of a market there is for that. You know, what benefit is there for the company for Dell to aggregate these right now these three cloud providers
Right.
as opposed to going individual to each one. I can see how it might be of interest to someone who is a big Dell client and uses them for many of their other networking needs. But for someone who is not already a Dell customer, I don't see much advantage to their services.
I think I would tend to agree with you. My first reaction when I saw this, not Dell, but another company I tried with, was Gravitant. My first reaction was exactly what you said. Why would I care to use it? Why do I bother about going through you, another proxy, another percentage on top? Why do I give you more money to do what I'm already able to do through other infrastructure, to directly approaching AWS, directly approaching Giant or any other company? Why do I need you? Was the first thing that came to my mind, and I think it is still on my mind. I still don't have a clear answer, but one thing is for sure, that if you look at any of these individual providers of cloud computing services, what they do not provide is an aggregate view of what is my expenditure, how are the rules around usage of my budget, how is the overall governance of who can access what set of policies and resources and machines, what principles, like who, what, when, why, and how. Those variables regarding, which team member from which group in my big organization can access set of machines in that area versus this area through a programmatic policy-driven method is something across variety of cloud providers is not there, and that is probably the market that these companies are trying to accomplish and target after. If you read this Gartner report on cloud services brokerage, there are some of them published, freely published on the internet. So you can search them. If not, I'll find them and send it to you. But these IT, what they call analysts themselves, like Gartner or IDC or other companies like Forrester, they're basically talking about this, that cloud services brokerage provide a layer of management so that companies who already are managing like an established relationship with Dell already, they have a Dell account, they know how to manage, they know how to operate with Dell, go through that same channel. It's incrementally a little bit more expensive, but gives them the convenience of managing the overall budget, adjusting to their overall policies of usage, and gives freedom among the team members to get alerted on what kind of consumptions going on in the cloud. How do you get a sense of cost involved in managing your infrastructure in the IT? How do you basically regulate your budget and align with what your market needs are? So it's more of a business perspective on cloud, as opposed to using specific tools and technologies to. You can accomplish, by the way, the same kind of technologies you can deploy with each individual provider and create your own method of regulating a variety of controls and policy level regulations to govern your usage of your cloud infrastructure from a variety of providers. And that's the angle I think companies like Gravitant or companies like this new offer that Dell has. And I think Murugan has a comment there. He says, if you are a Dell customer, then procurement department already has an account, and those setting up time and cost is not there. And that is accurate. And that may be the market that Dell is looking at, and they want. They're actively looking for customers to try out this early adoption program that they have released for us. So I think what I would like you to do is give this a shot, and we'll cover this formally in a class also in maybe early next month. I mean, month as in month of the class, third month of the class. We will cover this area, this topic specifically in terms of maybe going hands-on on one of these services and compare what does that mean from going directly to Amazon, going directly to Joint, and how does that actually compare to a group of people within a large company, compare between going through Dell versus going individually to these service providers. What's the difference? What's the value? That's what we would like to see, because these companies are actually becoming reasonably interesting, like companies like Gravitant and this offering from Dell. And I think Dell is doing this probably from their business perspective because they want to see how do they provide value to their existing customer base as well as attract new customers as they morph their business. Dell used to be a public company. It is not a public company anymore, as you know already. And so they're trying to figure out what's the best route for their future. And so they're investing in a variety of areas. This becomes one of them.
Well, they don't have any other way to play in the cloud environment today. The only thing they can do is be a broker for other cloud services. I don't see them getting into the cloud providing market. So this seems to be about the only way they can get involved in the cloud world and maintain relevance today. I think a lot of their server sales are going to really fall off now with companies moving to cloud, unless they themselves are selling to the clouds.
So that is, there is some element of truth in what you just said. There is other angle that people don't see that Dell is actually doing reasonably okay, especially when people are setting up private clouds, machines and racks of machines pre-configured to go inside a data center is actually provided by several companies, and one of them is Dell. And there is a lot of pressure from a pricing perspective, downward pressure on pricing, tremendously downward pressure on pricing that buyers will place on these machine makers. So you have HP, and you have Dell, and you have Cisco, and IBM, and another company called VCE, like Victor Charlie Echo, which stands actually for VMware Cisco EMC. VCE.com is another company that's providing infrastructure hardware that goes. And yes, they have OpenStack offering based on private cloud. Dell does, and that was a question from Mel on the chat window. Do they offer? So what they essentially do is provide hardware. And so you have this local company here in Seattle area called Redapt, R-E-D-A-P-T. I'm going to type it. This company, reseller of companies like HP and Dell and other manufacturers. They buy hardware from these manufacturers and then put OpenStack solution on top, and then provide a private cloud solution to customers in this area and in California, and they're growing, they're big now. Two gentlemen from this area started this company 14 years ago, and they were essentially originally resellers of hardware from Dell and HP and other companies, but they have evolved. What they are now doing is providing value-added solution on top. So they will have infrastructure as a service made available to people who want a private cloud. They will buy hardware from these companies and provide that as a solution with OpenStack installed on top. And that is an interesting opportunity that Redapt has taken on, and they are good friends with me, those two gentlemen that started that company. So that's an example of things that is happening here in the context of OpenStack using infrastructure just raw machines made available to them from companies like HP and Dell, for example.
It would be interesting to study such companies at least for a little bit in one of our classes and see what the potential is for them in the market.
I think so, and maybe I'm not in a position to promise, but I wish I could say that let's go to Redapt and check out what they do. I'm almost wanting to say that, but I'm not in a position because I don't have a commitment from them. I'm trying though. So if I get that, I will take the class to Redapt and see what they're doing.
I would certainly like to take a look at it.
Right, because and by the way, they are hiring. So they are hiring a cloud architect and a solutions engineer. So you should speak with them, or maybe speak with me if you're interested, any of you. They're hiring a cloud person. I can connect the dots if you like. The need essentially is to take hardware from manufacturers and provide a solution based on OpenStack or other varieties, the variety of things that they do that essentially gets sold in a private setup, in a private cloud setup. So if I succeed in getting them to agree that we will all as a class go there and see what they're doing, and that will become an opportunity for us to go there, check it out, get a first-hand feel of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not in a position to say yes, we'll do it because I don't have a commitment from that side yet.
Okay.
I will of course tell you quickly the first thing. But they are in California. Yes, of course, but they're based in Kirkland, actually Redmond, in 124 Avenue up near Kirkland. That's where the management is. Their main office is right here, and they have locations in California, of course. The main sales happen in California, but the office is here. So, yeah, most cloud companies are growing up in this area. This is probably the second best place to be in the technology sector in general, and the number one place to be in cloud, I think. Are they former Azure technologists? I don't know. I don't think they're former anything. They're just local people. 14 years ago, two brothers started this company. That's how I see them. Two brothers. They're probably not from a big company, employees. No, not like that. They are just born entrepreneurs that did it from ground zero, started up big thing 14, 15 years ago. No, I'm from a big company, man. I'm not a ground zero type person. I come from a big company. And yes, I am an entrepreneur, Michael. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I have this big company stigma. Yeah, I like the raw stuff, like go begin from scratch and do it yourself. That's the kind of thing I really enjoy.
One thing I would like to see, Nilesh, is some more insights to RightScale and Scalar and those companies who are aggregating cloud services, but from the operations point of view, not the financial point of view like Dell is.
Aha. Okay, I see. So let's do one thing. Let's do it right now. It's very easy to do it right now. And maybe if you have a volunteer in the class here, right this moment, open up a browser, start projecting, and I'll walk you through how to use RightScale. It should be fairly easy. If that's an interest, you can do it right now. Connect with your AWS and manage it. Connect with your at least one or two providers. Connect through RightScale and manage it through that portal. We can do that experimentation if you are willing to spend some time. Open a browser and open an account with them. Log in. Connect with Amazon and see how RightScale will help you manage that environment, manage that infrastructure, and keep that account active so they can use it eventually with another provider also at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So we can do that if you're interested.
Sure.
If you're interested in the business perspective, of course, give this cloud brokerage a shot. And I think somebody just started. Mel started projecting.
Do you see Google?
I see Google Docs, and I see that Cloud Marketplace Quick Start Guide. It's a PDF file, right? So yes, they'll give you like a credit card number, fake credit card number that will work. You see that? Did you see that in the file somewhere in here?
In Dell?
Yeah, in the Dell document, there is a credit card number reference.
Yes. Yes.
You can use that. It's a fake number, and it will be accepted only on this site. It's a trial, right? So let us go in using that method and establish an account and all that. Give us the business perspective on how a brokerage will function. So they have provided some instructions here as to how do you sign up and how do you put a credit card number and all that. The credit card number also they provide in here.
Right.
And so give this one a shot for the business perspective of it. And then we switch over to right scale and then there is the card number, Visa card number, expiry date. That's a fake card.
Okay.
So don't try that card anywhere else but this.
Yeah. Shall we just choose a service then?
Yeah, you know, Saturday discussions are your choice. So you drive the discussion essentially. So if you want to go the cloud marketplace route, I'm open to that. I'll help you. If you want to go the right scale route, I'm open to that also. Totally open. You decide what you want to discuss, and we'll do this. By the way, you should be able to see Mel's screen right now. Just click on the name Mel in the bottom window, and that will show you his screen at the bottom. Where you see all the names, that's where you click on Mel, and you will see his screen.
So shall we go through one of those?
Yep, you can. You can walk through this Dell method or right scale method. Just pick one and do it. For Dell, you need to open up this Dell site and then in a browser window, use the PDF file on as a reference, but work in the Dell Marketplace site. You use this PDF as a reference on the half of the window, and in the other half, you open up an empty browser and start working along in using this marketplace. And use your Mel at CloudGenius email address, because that's the condition we have, is we have to use it only in the CloudGenius domain, only with our students in the class, not outside. It is still not public information.
Okay, so I set up an account with my other email, so I should.
No, I'll take care. Just change the email address in the account later on. Should be okay. No big deal. We'll deal with that. So just not talk about it outside. And maybe put your 50% of the screen with the PDF file and other 50% with your login that you already have. And let's walk through, see what happens, see how it goes, see what it does. That's what I want to show. Yep, that's awesome. So 50% PDF file, 50% Dell website.
Shall we pick Joyent?
Yeah, we don't see anything though. So
We don't?
no, Giant is good, but we don't see anything yet.
Let's see.
I think what you need to do is press the window and arrow button, Windows button and arrow button to like go 50-50 on one screen as opposed to now we see nothing. Now we see it. Now we see it. So on the Hangout window, there's a new tab on the left side. That would be an awesome place to begin. That's right. Yes, joint rate plan. Yeah, go ahead, walk through this and take it. Use the card number they give you and all that, and let's see what they'll tell us. So what Mel seems to be doing is he's checking out this service called Joint from Dell Marketplace, and you check it out, use that card number they give you, and that'll establish an account for you, and see how it actually works out. Once the account is established, just make sure your company name is Cloud Genius so that Dell will know.
Spell it like that with 2 words.
Yep. They'll tell you an address or a card number or other terms and conditions to click.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me give you the street address. It should be on our website. Let me open up street address for you. It's the Redmond LW Tech address we are giving. So that address would be, I'll type it for you.
I can't see the chat window.
Okay, the address is 6505 176th Avenue, Northeast. It is 6505
6505
176th Avenue, Northeast.
Redmond.
Yeah. And the zip code is 98052. The phone number is 425-739-8321. That's good. Yeah, apply this address. Okay, now you're going to give the credit card number.
That was Visa, right?
I think so. I think you have to use your keyboard, Control C.
Whoop.
Just type it by hand. Copy and paste with PDF embedded into a Google Doc doesn't work, apparently. So what Dell is gaining from this exercise is something that I should call out. What Dell is gaining is experience as to how real customers will use their service. That's what Dell wants to know from me. And what we want to know from this experience is how exactly a brokerage works and what does it mean to a customer? Like, why do they care? And people talk about it, but unless we get a first-hand experience, we'll never understand what that actually means to a user. And that's the reason I think it's a good idea to just give it a shot. So here you can set budgetary limits as to how much, and you can put a daily limit. Yeah, that'll be good. So you can put a daily limit so the budgetary expenditure does not blow out of proportion. And for example, there is no such thing to do in Amazon or in Giant directly. If your budget consumption goes beyond a limit, you can conveniently keep paying for it, and there is no way to actually limit machine generation, machine creation, and stop it unless you have a budgetary control. So that budget control is one feature, like you saw here, 500 or less, that this solution provides. You should save that credit card detail in the checkboxes at the bottom, both of them. And so that was one budgetary control that becomes useful. And makes sense. They're charging you 1 cent per joint. And so this Giant company, as you already know, is based on, is founded by, I think, company behind Node.js, the framework. That is a JavaScript-based backend framework that is also uses JavaScript on the front end to create applications in the cloud. And that now it's asking you to provide your key. We need to provision your Giant rate plan. So we need to provide them a public key here. So give them a public key somewhere that you might already have in your terminal or somewhere, wherever you store it. And this will allow you to connect to a Giant machine from your terminal. And that's another benefit that you will notice is that your key management gets simplified across a variety of cloud providers. So now you give your keys to only Dell, and Dell will manage your keys with AWS and with Giant and with anybody else. Right now you have this problem of managing keys with every provider needs your keys. And so if you're going through this, then you know for sure that that's the only place you need to provide your keys. At least that's what I would expect. From my perspective, is what Dell would do is to ask you for this key only once, like right here, and ask every user in the customer company, for example, Cloud Genius, ask every user a key only once, and that becomes the user's SSH key. That key will be used with both Giant and Amazon and anybody else. So it will prevent, or rather, make it easy on you to not have to worry about keys with this company, keys with that company, not have to worry about budget across the team for your credit card, how much should be charged on a daily basis, and not more than that. That budgetary control will get applied not just for Amazon, but also will be clubbed together with Giant and anybody else that you are using. So the budget applies across the board to your consumption of cloud services, no matter where it comes from. So that was, I think, a private key, if I'm looking at it right. So you you have managed to expose your private key, by the way. And
Don't spread it around.
yeah, we'll do that. And we need to tell you that we took your key, and so you can always delete your keys and create new ones. So this is your public key you're saving. That's great. And now your dashboard. So it needs information to complete. What does it need? As a customer, you have sole access to the dashboard when you can view your subscription details, assign permissions. So it needs some information. So if you can click on the plus sign, the giant plus sign, maybe, yeah, that one. I think they need some information. Don't know what. So maybe you want to make this screen full screen so that you can see what they want to ask. They don't seem to tell you.
Not telling me much.
Yeah. So let's try My Marketplace, or say your name. Click on your name. They'll probably have it there. One of these. Pending. Okay, pending is fine. That is, it is not requiring more information, which is good. So let's go My Marketplace and My Subscriptions and see what we have. And maybe they're provisioning your Giant account right now.
Could be.
That's why it is pending. So it will provision, should provision in like a minute or two. Should not take that long. If it takes longer, we have a problem. So the marketplace, we have Amazon, and what else do we have in here? We have Google there, nice. And it should be a one-click subscribe, probably. Just click on Google green button, subscribe, and see what happens. It should be a one-click subscribe, meaning it will let you create Google Compute Engine machines with your simple checkout. Across the board, if you look at, just go through checkout, check it out. So it will use your credit card that you already gave them and put that $500 budget limit across the board on all your accounts, including Google and Giant and Amazon. This will provision a Google account for you also, and your budget, 500, will be applied towards both aggregated, which is a nice thing to have. You cannot accomplish this without a brokerage, by the way. So daily limit, you put a daily limit and drop down and then save the credit card information. Okay, so it is per service provider.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it's per service provider. 500 per service provider. That's not what I would like to see, actually, but apparently that's what they're giving us. 457. So that's the feedback I will give them, is I would expect to see a budget across the board, not per provider. Because if it's per provider, then what's the benefit? Like, why do I have to worry about providers when I'm dealing with Dell? Why do I have to worry about Google? I think that my team should spend not more than $500 a day. Now, that doesn't mean it's $500 per company per day. It means $500 per day. And so I expect that. So I'm going to give Dell some hard time on this as a feedback. So they will probably include it at some point, but it's hard because now if you're implementing this kind of a setup where you're managing budgetary controls across 2 or 3 different providers, that you need to dynamically, at the time of creating a machine, let's say I go and create a Google machine now, and my budget is already $499 spent today, and I want to still create one more machine. I need to be able to figure out that, first of all, I need to get an alert saying that at $450, I should get alerted that you have only $50 left for today. You may want to ask your management for more budget, or otherwise your machine creation will be stopped. And similarly, you want to also actually stop machine creation at the time when the budget is about to cross the limit. So after that budget limit is crossed, machine creation should not be possible. It takes 20 minutes for the process to get complete. That's a long time.
It is.
I know it should take like few and be done with it. Few minutes and it should be done.
Yeah, 2 minutes to process it at the provider and 18 minutes to process it through Dell.
Is that what it says? 18
No, no, I'm just speculating here, since it only takes a couple of minutes to spin up one of these machines
Right.
from a service provider, and but 20 minutes through Dell.
Yeah, I think what may be happening is that if you open a new account with, say, Giant or Amazon or Google, what these companies do is verify whether you are indeed a person or a machine or automatic computer system trying to open up accounts. And they'll call you and text you and talk to you and verify that you are a real person. And that verification, if you're going through a brokerage, doesn't happen directly with you, it happens with the brokerage.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have some other method of identifying that it is a real customer or a real user. And that may be taking time, but 20 minutes is too long. It's kind of boring. Interesting. So, well, thank you for creating the account. We'll wait and talk about it next time when we,
Okay.
when we discuss this topic. Keep your account and we will revisit this next time when we speak.
Okay.
In the marketplace Google dashboard, just change your email address. In the dashboard, there should be a place to change your email address to something in Cloud Genius so you can switch
Okay.
over.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Do you want to discuss something else, like maybe this thing called right scale?
Sure.
Put it,
Let's talk about right scale.
put it up, open an account, see how it goes. So I think right scale has grown to accommodate two distinctly different aspects of value. One of them being the cloud management aspect, which is design, deploy, and govern applications on public and private cloud. And the second one being cloud analytics, which is to visualize, forecast, and optimize usage and cost, which is awesome. So you want to not do the analytics part first. You want to begin with the management aspects, which is what you wanted to study. They, by the way, do both, which is nice. Your passwords apparently are weak. So how do you find LastPass? Is that useful?
Yes, it is.
Good. You don't have to remember 100,000 passwords now. Verify your company, Morris Homes Limited. Hmm. So you see the right, yeah, step 1. It says connect right scale to your cloud. And that's the button. Start here button is what you want to click. Because that will let you connect any of these clouds. So let's begin with our first one. Click. Otherwise, you have the choice of connecting to a private cloud also, by the way. So you can click a quick back button, and if you click the back button, it will let you manage your private cloud. We support CloudStack, OpenStack, VMware, vSphere. So that private cloud credentials is what you need to provide to this site, and that will connect to your private cloud and do what exactly you would expect to do, both public and private. On the public side, we have Amazon, Google, HP, Rackspace Software, and Windows Azure, out of which Rackspace and Windows Azure does not seem to be green colored for some reason, meaning it's probably limited in some sense. But then other ones are green, with Amazon being a green button and Google green button and all that. I don't exactly know what the difference is, but there would probably be some limitations somewhere in the not green ones, is what I suspect. So having said, if you happen to have a private cloud running on your, wherever you are, in your office, in your home, you can click the gray button, connect to private cloud, and configure it that way. Just take a quick look, peek, click on the gray one and see what is inside there. What do they expect?
Cloud token.
Yeah. So this is a string of LUM numbers provided to you by a private cloud administrator. And so if you're an administrator wish to register your private cloud, use the automated clouds tab to register your private cloud. So you will become an administrator and you want to use the administered cloud. So you click here once and see what they have inside, which will give you a little bit more information that an administrator would expect. Not much. I think we'll have to read the private cloud part later. But I think now is the time to go back to our info page, probably. You do not yet have registered private clouds. You can scroll back twice or thrice, or maybe click the manage button up on top. Manage. View dashboard. That will bring us back to the home where we want to add our right start here button, and then take us to Amazon, for example, where we will add our credentials and it will show you your Amazon account in one spot. So you provide your access key, your secret, and your account number. This detail is available to you in the upper right corner. The account number is upper right corner, and the access key and secret key, you have saved it somewhere already. Michael, the access key and secret key you have saved already somewhere. And Michael Z is chatting. He's saying that right scale, please. What is the relevance for right scale to poll my APIs? I guess the question is, how are all the APIs aggregated for each company? So the answer to Michael's question is, they need to access your access key and secret key so that they can manage AWS for you. They need your Google access key and secret so that they can manage your Google console for you. They need HP so that they can manage HP for you. They need credentials for your private cloud. And I think the key is not this. This is the account number. What you just typed is the account number.
It is.
And so they need your private cloud information so that they can manage your private cloud. These are the access credentials, so programmatically that they have made code to accomplish that. Yes, exactly. And the underlying code that is probably being used is Fog or Boto. I talked about Fog and Boto the last time. I'll talk again. I'll give you a link to read if you are interested. These APIs are cloud. Okay, hold on. Here. Where is my button? Let me open up a browser and give you links. I'm looking for fog.io. I think, yes. Fog.io is one, which is a bunch of Ruby APIs for managing multiple cloud providers. And the other one is coming up. It's called BOTO. And that is a Python-based library, does similar thing. You can read about it in this site. I'm going to give you a link. So the fog was Ruby API, and this is your Python API. Just two examples. That's what these companies use under the hood, and use your credentials, access key and secret key and all that good stuff to connect to a variety of cloud providers and provide that information to you in a centralized management portal. That's what you will see once Mel finishes up typing his secret and other things. You should be able to see that. And I hope it will show you almost right away, meaning within a minute or so. It will show all the machines that Mel has running in AWS Cloud. That's what I expect to see once Mel finishes his secret detail.
I'm having a bit of trouble finding the access key. What page is it on?
The access key is on the upper right corner. There will be a page on security credentials or access credentials that will take you to another site, and it will give you the AWS access key, but will not give you your secret because you have stored your secret in your knife.rb. That's what you have saved. The AWS access key and AWS secret key is safe in your knife.rb file.
Okay, but secret groups. Let's see. Here, I'll share this with you and see if you can help me find that key.
Yep, the key should not be visible anymore. Like if you go to Mel at number at the top left, top right corner, drop down, security credentials, and that's where you will find it the very first time. And if you do not have, why do you want to change the password? Okay, your new password must meet the requirements defined in AWS account password policy. Why do you want to change the password right now? I don't want to. So I want to go back to the dashboard. And here, we want to Yeah, generate a new key. Yeah, just create a new group of users, and the group of users become new group.
Let's see.
In the upper segment, you have a new group of users, right? So you can just create a new group, call it administrator or super duper administrator or whatever, and continue, and then give them the administrator privileges. Create a key, administrator access, select administrator access, and then you continue. And there we have a create a add existing users, so you can TwiddlyD or CyberDucky, whatever you can get, one of those. And now if you add a user, hold on. If you add a user, you need to already have the keys. That's not going to help you. To create a key, you need to create a new user. So you want to go and create a new user and call it the rack space user or a right scale user, and that will generate a key for that user, right scale. And this way it will generate a key and put that right scale user into your super duper admins group. And now you continue, it will generate a key pair. And that's what you download. And that's what you end up using back in your right scale, because right scale is a user now. And you just have received security credentials for your AWS access key and your secret for a new user in your company.
Access. Okay. That's the key it's looking for then.
Yeah, and that new user is your right scale user that you can revoke that user anytime you don't like right scale anymore. You can come back here and just revoke the keys. So that particular right scale user will stop accessing your AWS account at that time when you revoke the keys. But right now the keys are valid. You take those valid keys and give it to right scale. Then right scale becomes a user, a super duper admin user in your AWS account. And this is the access key and secret that you just received for a new user you created. And that user is called So here you see that there are server templates, and that will give you a new way of looking at some predefined way of using cloud machines. So they recommend using server templates, which consist of an image, some scripts, some input variables defined, and some alert conditions to monitor. And so as you walk through this, it will let you provide a template. A template essentially is a collection of all these things like images, scripts, inputs, and alerts combined together. As opposed to just starting a machine, templates will be a collection of all things you need to make sure a scenario is complete.
Would you like a cookbook and chef?
Yes, cookbook and chef would go as a part of scripts, for example. Inputs will go as a part of your values you want to assign or associate. So cookbooks, as they already mentioned, you can use Bash, Ruby, Python scripts, or chef recipes, install and configure a server during the boot and operational and decommission phases. So that's the script part where chef recipes will go. The inputs will define script-specific values like username, or what should be the authority of the user. Should that user be read-only? Should that user be administrator, or anywhere in between? Alerts will set up conditions that will alert you for usage, how much CPU consumption is going. If the CPU consumption is going beyond, say, 80%, it is time for you to scale up and add one more machine, or scale out and add one more machine, for example, to scale your infrastructure appropriately, for which you need alerting. And images will define what type of OS you want, whether you want Ubuntu or Red Hat or Windows or other things, and whether you want to install some predefined software like WriteLink, which is a WriteScale specific software agent. So as the machine boots up, it will include WriteScale software right in the machine itself as it boots. So that's the recommendation WriteScale has. You don't have to use templates, but you can. And I think it's a good idea if you're a WriteScale customer to use their templates. That's a quick idea of a template, essentially. From a WriteScale perspective, they'll let you select all these four things together. So as you walk through next, it will take you to a place where it will show you templates. And, interesting. So they have multi-cloud marketplace. They're mixing economic aspects as well as operational aspects together, which is nice. Keep clicking next and you will get there to a place where you can start your machine. So you can import and launch. That'll be a good one to try if you want a LAMP all-in-one WordPress trial, or maybe the second one, which is LAMP all-in-one MySQL 5.5 with Chef. So uses cookbooks to configure a LAMP server with a PHP application. This is conceptually similar to the last exercise we did by hand. You remember?
Yes.
The second one is conceptually similar. That's what they're doing. Third one is base server template for Linux. Use this template as a starting point for creating a custom Linux-based server template. Fourth one is a server template for Windows. So you have a very clear idea on at least the step number 2, or like the point number 2 here, which is LAMP all-in-one MySQL with Chef. That's exactly what we did last time. So that's what they will do if you select that option. So you can then compare what we did versus what they are doing by clicking the import and launch button, which will essentially go do the same steps, except through through WriteScale, invoke this setup using Chef into Amazon Cloud with a few button clicks. We did this by brute force, but now we are doing through clicks. Same thing. And so it wants you to choose which location and what kind of deployment you want. So you want to select the drop-down Singapore or drop-down Oregon or drop down Virginia. These are the regions, right? They have. So you can say US West Oregon, that one. Or Oregon is probably better for us. So you can compare. And you can go deploy default, continue, and it will do what you just told it to do. And so you can click continue and just watch what happens. So you're not selected any security groups, you're not selected any SSH key. So you need to provide a key and a security group and all that good stuff. So you drop down the key first, or just select the default group. And then here you have SSH key, see what they have. So do you have these keys already with you?
Yes.
So select the one you know for sure you have, and then proceed. So they got the keys that you have saved in your AWS console,
Mm-hmm.
and they pulled it down and put a drop down here, so that you don't have to give them keys. Otherwise, you can, by clicking the new button, you can create a new key and give it to them. They will go inject it into Amazon for you. But right now, they have given you the drop-down choices of the two keys you already have at Amazon. You can just select them here. If you don't have any keys in Amazon, you can click the new button, and then you give public key to them to RightScale. And what they will do is take that public key from you and inject it into Amazon for you. So you can take one of these choices. So new becomes one choice, and a drop-down selection becomes another choice. That's how you go and select an SSH key. You can even go and define which data center and zone you want, which is a valid choice, and identifying through that, you can pinpoint which zone or which availability zone you want. So you can select any is fine, but drop down and select something else to see what choices we have. And so you get multiple choices there, all in the Oregon region. You get multiple availability zones, 2A, 2B, and 2C. Now on the pricing aspects, which is the left side of the window, you will see that the pricing available right now selected is on demand. You can drop down to see other choices called spot pricing. And spot pricing is like bidding for a machine. And you can see how the spot pricing works by clicking on the spot button, and you can name your price. Right now, the on-demand price is 4.4 cents per hour. And you can tweak your pricing if you want it to be cheaper. You want to say, I'm willing to spend only 3 cents. So if the machines are available, then do it. Otherwise, don't, because my budget is only 3 cents. So you define your price. And if the machines are free, if they are not doing anything, they have machines and machines loaded up in the cloud, they're not going to be used at all. And in that case, if there is no demand at that price at 4 cents, then they will see if there is any customer who is willing to pay only 3 cents, and will take that customer instead of not collecting 3 cents and losing out on the opportunity to grab 3 cents. And that's what is going on in this spot pricing. You should maybe I should repeat what I just said. Spot pricing is to collect the last minute money on the table that could otherwise go waste. You have machines running. There's not enough demand. You have data center full of machines, not enough customers. So what do? You drop the price. How do you drop the price? By asking and allowing customers to bid at a lower price than 4.4 cents per hour. My customer, Mel Morrison, is willing to spend only 3 cents. Even 3 cents is too expensive, so he will probably change it to 2.9 cents, for example. He can, and in that case, If somebody is willing to spend 3 cents, whereas Mr. Mel Morrison is willing to spend only 2.9 cents per hour, then Mel will not get the machine. But the other guy who bids higher, for example, 3 cents per hour, will get the machine. Normally, the machine prices are set at 4.4 cents per hour, and that's the nominal price for on-demand machine pricing. However, like I described the last time about airplane flying away, about to fly away, last few hours left, you have seats that are otherwise go empty. You would rather have somebody sitting in those seats and collect whatever left over. And the real cost to running an additional seat and filling an additional seat in an airline situation, the real cost, essentially, all practical purposes, is the cost of food and water and toilet cleaning and seat cleaning. That's it. So let's say food will cost you a full entire bag of peanuts will cost you like $10, and some drinking water maximum. That's the max I see from a cost of a seat perspective. $10 includes a cost of a full bag of peanuts, one drink, and cleaning services for that seat, and the toilet and other common areas. That's the loaded cost. So to add one more person in an empty seat, an airline will spend probably $10. So if they're able to charge $11 to the last minute person and let that person in, they will still gain that $1. And that's what airlines do at the last minute, drop prices and let people sit in. That's what Amazon is doing right here. Spot pricing. The machines are available and unused. They are going to remain unused. You would rather give machines to people who are willing to spend less than 4.4 cents per hour at maybe 3 cents per hour, because Mel Morrison is conservative. He knows that Amazon is unoccupied, not full, and very much willing to send and give machine to Mel Morrison at 3 cents an hour. And in that case, Mel is smart to choose a spot price. The risk Mel will run into is, what if Amazon is actually fully booked and there is no seat on the plane left? In that case, even if you select 3 cents an hour and click the next button and continue, you will still not have your lamp stack up and running because you bid below the market. The market was willing to spend 4.4, whereas you were willing to spend only 3. So you may not get it. You may not get a machine. There is no guarantee on spot pricing and bidding. It is like eBay bidding. You bid higher, you will get a machine. If you do not bid high enough, you may not get a machine. And that's what's going on in the spot pricing aspect. And so, having given that long, boring lecture on spot pricing, I would like to make sure that all the other aspects of drop downs are selected and taken care of before we proceed. And there's a red symbol in the default security group, which basically means that something is wrong in that. Click the launch wizard number 1, probably. That is also wrong. So delete both the red ones and say no security group, and click the new security group and create one, new. And in here you can call it right scale, and open up these two ports, 80 and 22, and that becomes a new default new security group for the right scale user. and that gets saved back in Amazon. You can actually go and cross-examine in your Amazon console. You can see this new security group now available. I think the red is okay. I think there's some other meaning to the red. It should not be red colored though. But yeah, leave it alone, keep going. Elastic IP addresses, if you have an elastic IP assigned, you can get the drop down there. If not, you can create a new elastic IP from Amazon, and that will cost you money, by the way. So don't. Placement group is not needed. Let's go scroll down and see advanced options, see what we have in there. And this looks good, so we can confirm. And as soon as we confirm, the next step is to read all the details that are needed. So we can now read that it's in Oregon. It's a LAMP all-in-one MySQL with MySQL 5.5 with Chef. It's a deployment type default. There is a server template being used, SSH key being used called Chef, security group being used called RightScale, placement groups none, and then lots of alerts. The alerts are chosen from a server template, and let's read these alerts so we'll get a perspective on what they are doing. So one, RS. RS is for RightScale. CPU overloaded. That's the first alert. It says if CPU 0 by CPU idle value is less than 3 for 5 minutes, then escalate to critical. Next one, RS, which is for RightScale. Low swap space divided by swap free dot value is less than the million number for 5 minutes, then escalate to critical. RS, high network transmit activity. If interface divided by IF underscore octets dash eth0.tx. This is the Ethernet port on that machine and its transmission rate. If it exceeds a certain threshold for 10 minutes, then escalate to critical. Next one is CPU IO wait. Then we have MySQL low thread count. Then we have high network RX receive activity. Then we have CPU busy for more than 3 minutes, then escalate to warning. Instance not responding. Scroll down and lots of alerts. You will see these are nicely defined templated alerts. So if you scroll down a little, you will see them. The other alerts in here. And then you can finish. And then you can probably launch. There are lots of other errors like instance terminated, Apache low, MySQL not running, out of memory, instance stranded, low space in root partition, Apache not running, MySQL not running for 5 minutes, things like that. And so you can launch right this moment. And when you launch, it will spin up a machine for you. The server will be launched with the inputs. Any missing inputs will be highlighted in red. So let's see if there is any red item. Yes, they are. So missing and required, inherit. Let's drop down and see what they show. They should not be asking us when we're using a template. They should fill it for us. This is strange. I think inherit is the right choice. But they should not be asking us and showing these red items when we are using a standardized template. Kind of silly. Scroll down. And ignore the red items and hit the launch button at the top and see what happens. It will probably cry, saying that, we don't know what to do, we have red items, which is kind of really, really silly because we are not customizing anything, we just took a template. But you know what? I think it makes sense. It is asking for password. So the DB category, you need to provide them a password. So that's the reason why we have it. So instead of inherit in the red item, DB category, we need to provide a text or credentials, one of these two. The credential, you need to provide the DB admin password. So give it a password, super duper secret password, something like that. And scroll down to the next one. Also, the admin username. You want to give an admin username here, which is going to be a text, and that will become Mel. Application password, application username. You can define these things in your applications and then have them use the right credentials just like that. I think they're asking us for too much, and inherit is good. The localhost is good. Dump container, I don't know what the value should be. Database schema will depend on the application. Dump storage account secret will also depend on the application. So it needs an application to go and use that information that application will provide us. That goes in here. Go back to the home and select the basic template as opposed to this little bit complex template like what we had. Cancel this one, go back to the home page and select a simpler template. Probably the number one is going to be the simplest, which is not this all-in-one with MySQL. You can probably delete this one because it did not up on top. There's a delete button, second one. Up top below the orange, second one is delete. You delete that one and come back to our very first template, which was somewhat a trivial one. When we say go back to the manage button up on top and say view dashboard, and there you can begin again. And here you can say all-in-one WordPress trial. So hit that and see if it opens up a WordPress for us. That should be simpler because now we have an application pre-bundled with it. I hope it is simpler. But the second choice we had taken, which is creating a customized environment using chef recipe, there are lots and lots of things needed. And so we did not have those quite ready. We're trying it first time right now. So Oregon default, continue. And drop down a security group and just launch. This should work. You can select the right scale group. Scroll down and say next or launch. This should bring up WordPress directly.
All green.
Yeah, all green. So save and launch. And once you launch, you can come back here and read the items in the other one that were red. Now you can also simultaneously visit the other console.aws.amazon.com to see what Amazon is doing on the back end, because this is the front end for you now, right scale. So you want to go and compare what Amazon did for you, or rather what RackScale did on Amazon for you. You will see, just like you see when you run a knife command and open up a new machine in the cloud. Similarly, here, RightScale is doing that kind of a thing for you. So you can say services EC2, and you should probably see a new machine starting up. One running instance there.
That was already there.
I see. So it is then on the left side in RightScale, you probably have pending status. Okay. 4 seconds of runtime. Refresh this left browser and see what it says. Still pending. But it is indeed hooking up to Amazon and doing what we think it is doing. It doesn't seem to say that right there quite yet. Like the public IP is not assigned in the tab there. It says none. That assignment will come. Like, yeah, that location. You will see it populated in a few minutes, I hope. But you get the public IP right there back from Amazon into this location that you can just click and open up WordPress installed. That's what I expect. But let's see what comes up. So without going to Amazon, you can, there it comes. So you have a pending, still pending, but
We have a public IP.
you have a public IP. So you should grab that public IP and open in a third browser. And also refresh the Amazon page. Which will show you 2 running instances now. In the Oregon zone, you have to go to the right Oregon region, US West 2. It is Oregon. So go to running instances and see what happens.
Running instances.
There it is. You have an M1 small started up.
Initializing. Cool.
So was the spot pricing discussion we had, was that useful? And are there specific questions on the economic aspects of it? Because we will have further discussions on this topic on spot pricing and on costing, total cost, the business related aspects of using cloud in the coming month. We'll do a lot more of that as we go along. Now that we have a good handle on, the actual operating a cloud or a variety of clouds through a tool, like the tool we used. In the next segment, we'll discuss more of business-related aspects, some costing, some pricing, some TCO, some ROI, and it is booting. Nice. Like how airlines sell tickets. Two questions about pricing. Yes, Michael, go ahead.
Question number one: do you think that RightScale and Amazon have a business arrangement so that if I buy my AWS instance through through RightScale, that RightScale gets a portion?
Probably not. The reason is that Amazon is so well known that Amazon does not depend on RightScale for customers. RightScale charges money on top of what Amazon already charges. The cut back, or rather, the portion I see the reason you asked this question is typically if you go through a broker to buy a home, the broker gets a commission from the person who is selling the home. And so here, Rackspace becomes a broker to the Amazon cloud. And the question that you have was, will Amazon get a portion from Rackspace? And the answer is no, not necessarily, because first of all, Rackspace is not charging us right now. Second of all, the pricing of Rackspace is not a machine dependent, but a membership, I think. It's a membership pricing. I don't exactly know how they are pricing it, but they're not going to be charged, like giving a portion of what we charge back to Amazon. Third thing, we used our own credentials with Amazon in Rackspace, meaning we keep the billing responsibility directly with Amazon. Like Mel used his account and his credit card with Amazon and just used an Amazon key with Rackspace, so using with RightScale. So using RightScale as a management infrastructure as opposed to a brokerage. If RightScale was a broker, then in that case, RightScale would have expected a credit card number from Mel and would not have asked for a key from Amazon, because in that case, RightScale will charge Mel directly and create an account in Amazon for them, and in that case, the equation is different. Right now, Mel gives credit card number to Amazon and gets a key. That key is being used with RightScale, so there is no business transaction going between RightScale and Amazon right now.
Perfect.
All we are doing is using the APIs and keys from AWS through RightScale to invoke a machine.
That's a really good answer. That helps me understand. And then the second one is, if you buy resources on spot, then is it possible if your strategy is to get a much better price, so you buy during off hours, do you think there's a possibility that you could end up buying non-performant resources because they're basically selling them at a basically at a discounted rate?
I think that is not true, even though some of us might have said that really tiny micro machines may not be performing well, but that may or may not be true. So Amazon does not, any cloud services provider will not sell you something that doesn't function. That is a bad business, right? That's not what they do. They try to give you machines, even though they're cheap. They'll give you machines that are supposed to work. Sometimes it may not work, is a different story. But the promise behind, even if it's a micro tiny instance, it is still supposed to work, and it will work. If you're bidding for business purposes, you're probably using small instances, not T1 micro. And T1 micro, yes, they are small, and yes, they may not work, and yes, they are really, really cheap. The most spot pricing that I have seen going on is on medium instances or small instances in large quantities. So I need 100 machines of small type, or I need 100 machines of the medium type, and I'm willing to spend 2.9 cents per machine per hour as opposed to 3 cents per machine per hour whereas the rate that you have published on demand rate is like 4.4 cents per hour. So I want to bid low because I want a lot of machines, and I don't care if you get me all the machines right now or later. You can give me whenever you do, and when you do give me the machines, when you have them available for an hour or so, because that's what I want to do is overnight batch processing. It doesn't matter whether that overnight batch processing is happening at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, or it happens at 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, or maybe at 4. I don't care as long as it happens. And that's the kind of usage scenario which is very nice for me to be able to do batch processing, batch as in BATCH. Batch processing happens overnight when I'm doing some grunt work. I need machines to do that grunt job, and that may not be needed right away. It can happen overnight whenever it does, but I don't want to spend too much money. So instead of spending 4.4 cents an hour, I would bid on the spot prices 3 cents an hour and save 25 or 30% of my cost because I bid low. And so I may get a machine in the night and it might complete, but I know for sure that even if it doesn't complete, I don't care too much because it's a nightly job. It doesn't have to finish right away. It doesn't have to be on demand. It can happen whenever it does, as long as it happens in the night.
Yeah, perfect. That's a great use case. Hey, one thing real quick. I just see that Mel's maybe doing a verification. Hey, checking through his resources and stuff. If you're an engineer, I'm assuming if you're working with lots of instances, you might develop scripts to basically go back and do your validation on resources you've just provisioned.
Yes. And that example would be knife EC2 server list.
Okay.
Knife EC2 server list will give you a list of machines you have. So you don't even have to go to this console in Amazon. You can just run knife EC2 server list, or you have your own customized scripts on top to give you what you need quickly. So you can figure out, okay, what do I run, where do I run, what is running, what is not running. Quickly give me a view. You can do that on your own without going to console.aws.amazon.com. You can actually don't have to go to the Amazon console. We are going there right now just to compare and contrast what RightScale is doing to my Amazon. But you don't have to. There is no need to go to Amazon once you configure RightScale.
Perfect. Great answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the server is showing running on Amazon's dashboard, but still showing as booting on the RightScale dashboard.
Yeah, I think it is time to open up in a browser, third window, open the IP address and see what happens. Okay. Yeah, it's still doing something, don't know what. Maybe the machine is ready, but the scripts are running to make it a full LAMP stack with WordPress installed. That may be going on, is what I see. And that's why it still says booting as opposed to something else, like ready. It doesn't say ready. But on the Amazon, the machine is ready.
So yeah, the machine's
Yeah,
running, but it's still loading up WordPress or
possibly.
MySQL or whatever.
Quite possible. So on the left side, you see it is booting because it actually means to say that your solution that you expected is not ready yet. The solution we expect to see is WordPress. And that is not visible, or at least it doesn't think it is ready yet, which basically means it is still installing a bunch of stuff and installing WordPress and then making it ready. And when it readies, it will say ready here in the status. So we probably have to give it some time. I don't know how much, maybe 2 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. It should not take long because it should take the amount of time you need to have a chef run completed, which is like a few minutes, not more.
Hey, another real quick question. When Mel started the process here, I think he went into some sort of like password program to manage all of his passwords. The question I have is there a centralized way to manage keys?
Yes, it is called KeePass.
Gotcha.
KeePass.
Okay. Or key store. Okay. Thanks, Murugan.
I guess patience is what we need, and I don't have.
So I'm just thinking about the business case for right scale. The advantage is you can manage your servers from a high level without scripting Chef or some other management tool.
You still have to provide it scripts or use their existing scripts.
Mhm. But then thinking about it, there was a point there where you could here's scripts. You could use Chef scripts in here.
Yes, there are lots of them available. So these are you ready to use things. If you don't want to use these things, then you have to provide your own things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, let's read one of those. Web Apache do restart. So it's a simple script to restart Apache. If that is a need you have, you can use that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have some other need, then you need to provide your script. Let's see boot scripts. What do we have in the boot script section? It talks about a variety of things like small little steps: install client, install server, set up monitoring, MySQL default setup, logging and enable logging, LAMP enable LAMP specific attributes, install some tools, set up monitoring, set up server tags, goes on and on. Decommission scripts will be like remove this, remove that, disable this, terminate that. Not included anything. Any script. You basically select a script to run and see what you have in the drop downs. And you can provide your scripts if you have them or if you publish them. But they are branding it as, they're calling it write scripts, which is basically scripts to use with write scale. Escape will get rid of it. Let's see if Dell Marketplace is ready for us. It has been more than 20 minutes. They should be ready by now.
Still pending.
Bad. Too slow. Too slow for me.
Yes.
Try a log out, log in on Dell Marketplace and see if it actually differs. I think you to go back to the original email, but maybe I give up on Dell right now. I'll give them maybe a working day, like a Monday,
Mm-hmm.
Dell to investigate and enable. I think it is Sunday, and there is some manual intervention needed for Dell to create an account for you. Because it should be automatic, it is not, which is unfortunate. But let's give them a working day
Okay.
and revisit this. This is lame. So they have shipped something for you, huh? Estimated delivery is August 8th.
So it'll be pending until August 8th.
Is there a tracking number? They have shipped it. We're experiencing difficulty in getting tracking details about your order. What? Well,
It's a beta.
I know.
Well, at least it only cost me a penny so far.
Yes. And that's a figurative penny because it's not.
Yeah, it's paid for by that phony Visa card.
That's correct.
That's good.
Okay, then I think we should see Monday. We meet Monday and talk about Vagrant.
Vagrant, very good.
Awesome. So see you then.
All right, thanks, Neelish.
Bye, guys. Mel, you should get paid from Dell for testing. Oh, yeah. Thank you.